agree that the defendant advances towards where Relly and Ills are before Relly makes any attempt to make contact with Ills. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct.
Would you agree that before there's any contact between Relly and Ills, the defendant has already taken out his gun?
That's not correct.
Do you remember seeing individuals walking directly by the defendant after he removed the gun and had the gun in his hand?
I did not see individuals walking directly next to him.
Okay, let me show you. We're going to put up again People's 15. So I want you to watch. You're going to see steps. There's the gun out. Now they're off camera, and you see Sabit. Did you see two sets of footsteps that were walking from the direction to the left of the screen, past where you guys were all standing, toward the right of the screen?
Yes.
And would you agree that if we rewind that, they are literally walking by? You can't see where they are, but you can see their feet. They are walking by literally the spot where the defendant has the gun at the time he has the gun out, correct?
Can I see it again?
Sure. So they're off screen now. There's the gun is put back, and there are those individuals. You would agree they've walked extremely close, if not directly by where the incident was occurring, correct?
They walked by us, yes.
So you would agree that if Mr. Mayers had decided to use that gun right at that point, that would have been directly in front of those individuals.
Can you rephrase it?
So if he had decided, I want to take that gun out, and I want to use it, I want to shoot it at Relly, that would have been done directly in front of those two people.
I can't answer a hypothetical question, but he did not do it on the screen.
Listen to my question. You just agreed that they were literally walking by the exact spot where this incident was going on, correct?
Yes.
So what I'm telling you, asking you, would you agree, sir, that if Rocky at that point, Mr. Mayers, had actually used the gun that we saw him remove, it would have been done directly in front of those people?
Objection, closer speculation.
I can't agree because you see him going in the opposite direction, and you can see the people walking in another direction from him. You don't see them running. You don't see them trying to like evade anything. You just see them walking. I see his hands. Yes.
All right.
Your Honor, could the court
Mr.
instruct
Twelyy, this is what he's asking. We understand that you believe that Relly's hands were weapons.
Yes.
What he's asking you, though, is did you see him with a gun at all, any time that night?
I said no. I said
All right.
no weapons.
Did you see him with a knife?
No.
Did you see him with a club?
No.
Did you see him with any kind of weapon that could be, offensive weapon that could be used against someone else?
No.
Thank you, Your Honor. What is the first thing that you remember happening after the first incident ended? So what happened?
After the first incident happened, sorry, after the first incident happened, I just recall Rocky being around the corner first, because I told him to go. Also, Ills trying to calm Rel down. Rel in the back, kind of angry and like volatile, getting ready to make a move, but I'm telling Rocky, yo, leave. You know, so that's the first thing I seen. First thing I seen was Rocky leave, then Ills speak to Relly, and then Relly start picking up more energy to like get closer to Rocky.
And it's your testimony at this point in time, you have not seen Relly hit anybody, correct?
Not yet.
Okay. And you've also talked about how large and muscular Relly is, correct?
Yes.
You mentioned that Relly is much stronger than you. He's much stronger than Ills. He's much stronger than Mr. Mayor, correct?
Yes.
So would you agree, sir, that the reason that Relly hasn't hit anybody at this point in time is because Relly didn't want to hit anybody at this point in time?
Objection, Your Honor. Full state of mind speculation.
Read the question back, Ms. Gadd.
Would you agree, sir, that the reason that Relly hasn't hit anybody at this point in time is because Relly didn't want to hit anybody at this time?
Sustain.
Was there anything preventing Relly from punching Ills?
At that moment, I feel like his eyes was on Rocky. So I'm not too sure what was his state of mind. I'm not too sure.
I didn't ask you state of mind. I'm going to ask you again. He's right next to Ills, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything that would have stopped him from physically being able to punch Ills?
He did end up punching Ills.
You just testified that he did not punch Ills.
No, I'm saying he did end up punching Ills. So can you explain it to me so I can understand?
Sure. I'm only talking about this first incident, all right? You're saying, you talked about how Relly is angry.
Yes.
And even though I didn't ask you, you interjected during the last question how Relly was, quote, planning his next move or about to make a move.
Objection already made.
Overruled.
So my question is, since you said Relly was, quote, about to make a move, you would agree that at that point in time, we're still at the first scene, at the parking structure, there was nothing to stop Relly from punching Ills right at that time, correct?
Correct.
There was nothing to stop Relly from punching you at that time, correct?
I wasn't that close. It was space in between us.
Well, did,
I never seen him in person. So can you show me?
so let me ask something. Were you aware that Relly suffered an injury the night of November 6th to his upper knuckles? Upper finger, excuse me.
From what I heard, but I never seen the injury.
Okay, I'm going to show it to you now.
On the internet, but I never seen it up close. I never seen it.
And did you see it that night?
No.
Your position is you said Ills was getting punched by Relly, correct?
Yes.
And I don't want to get myself in trouble. Was that with a fist or an open hand?
I know it was his hand. I'm not too sure of the positioning of his hand.
You would agree, and you said before in your direct evidence, your direct testimony and cross-examination, on Friday you said that Relly punched Ills repeatedly with a fist. Do you recall that?
Yes.
So you're now talking about that's the incident you're referring to where Ills was punched by Relly, correct?
Yes.
And that was with a fist, correct?
Yeah, the fist is on your hand, so I believe so.
And that was multiple times, correct?
I believe so, yes.
And you've explained that Relly is extremely strong, correct?
Yes.
And we showed you the pictures of Ills from the next night, and you agreed you couldn't see any visible injuries, correct?
I never said that Ill's face was broken. I never said he had a black and blue on his eyes. I
Motion
said,
to
yeah.
strike is non-responsive.
Sustain.
Listen to my questions. You testified on Friday that you agreed that Ills did not have any visible injuries, correct?
Oh, can you rephrase that? And do you mean by in the video that you showed the next day? You didn't say the video of the event because we can't.
Well, hold on a minute. Are you saying you remember him having visible injuries?
I'm asking you, can you rephrase it because you're just saying you're saying from the video or what event?
Well, let's take it one at a time. You testified on Friday that the visible injury, you said that his lip was bleeding.
His lip was bleeding, yes.
And you agreed that in the video that you saw, you couldn't see his lip bleeding.
The objection, which video? That's what he says.
Well,
Which video?
I showed you a video
Would you like to show me again?
on Friday.
You talking about the video that was taken the following day?
Yes, the video
That's
taken
the
the
video he's
following
talking
day
about.
Okay.
where he has the flag on. You said, we had it up there.
Yes.
You could not see any visible injury to his face, correct?
Also,
Is that correct?
Yes or no?
yes.
So my question to you is, if Relly is punching him multiple times with his fist, do you know why there was no visible injury?
I have no idea.
Okay. Watch it again. And I'm going to ask you, when we get there, would you agree that the defendant turns around and pulls out his gun? Stop. Gun is coming out now, and I want you to point to where the defendant is and where Ills is.
Well, I see the defendant, but I don't see him pulling out the gun. I don't see him.
You go and you point to where the defendant is, I'm sorry, where Ills is and where Relly is.
So this would be the defendant.
Yep.
This would be myself.
Yeah.
Over here would be Ills.
Yep.
And I believe this would be Rev.
Would you agree that up to this point, Relly, at this second incident, has not made any physical contact with Ills?
Can you play the video?
Listen to my question. Up until this point, and I'll keep playing it, do you agree that there has been no physical contact that Relly has made with Ills?
Right here, there's
Yeah.
no physical contact.
And no physical contact right before, correct?
Right before we turned on. Right before he had no contact. Right
Okay,
here.
that's at 56 seconds.
This song didn't file label combines or ends video, Your Honor.
Excuse me?
No, we're just clarifying for the record, sir. So you would agree, this is the beginning of the second incident, correct?
I would say this is the second incident, yes.
Is it the beginning of the second incident?
No, because I would say the beginning of the second incident is when Relly puts his hands on Hills. So that's when it becomes an incident. Because before then, we were leaving.
So the second incident hasn't started yet, according to you, correct? Because there's been no hands,
There's,
is that right?
there's no hands from it. There's nothing going on from anybody right
Okay,
now.
so I just want to be clear. So in your position, where we are right now, at 56 seconds, the incident has not started yet, correct? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. The defendant took out his gun and ran towards that wall for safety, correct?
No, I ran towards the wall. When, if you could play it, you could see Rel coming towards me. That's when I moved.
Play it again. So your position is you were going. I thought Relly is attacking Ills. Is Relly attacking Ills or is he going after you? Which is
So Relly hit Ills. He got Ills out the way, and then he tried to hit me. And I stated before, I'm not fighting Rel because my inguinal hernia.
we're gonna
So
play.
I juked and moved.
We're gonna
The warning shot came.
listen to my question. By this point in time, the defendant has the gun out already.
The
correct?
prop is out after Ills is attacked. Not before, after.
Stop.
That's the first shot.
And you start running right after that shot, correct?
Relly is already running towards me. So
Listen, most of the strikers non-responsive. I'm not asking what Relly did. I'm asking you, this is a yes or no question.
I did not run
Sir.
from the shots.
Listen to my question. I'm not asking you what you ran from. Listen. Isn't it true that the timing, you do not run until after that first shot is fired? Yes or no?
Well, yes.
Okay. Gun is out, and now he's about to fire. Boom. Shot happens, and you run after, correct?
I run because if you
That
want
is not what I asked you. Most of the strikers non-responsive.
Objection.
Stop. The answer is non-responsive.
Sir, listen.
He's asking you a question.
Okay,
Wait, hold on. He's asking you a question which calls for a yes or a no.
I'm not asking you why you ran. I'm asking you, isn't it true that you do not run until after the defendant fired the shot?
that's not true.
That is not true. So, play.
After the first shot,
Yes.
I'm not running. You see me still right there.
Okay, the first shot's fired. Keep playing.
Then you see me run. That's not a shot.
So what I asked you before was, isn't it true that the first shot was fired before there was ever any contact between Relly and Hills? You said no, but you would agree when you watch this, the first shot is fired before your allegation that Relly was attacking Hills, correct?
That is not true. On the
Okay.
video, you can see.
Motion strike, everything after that is not true.
Yes.
And is this also where you are saying that having watching this, you do not believe that Relly was attempting to use Hills as a shield?
I do not believe that.
And let me ask, when this incident ends, none of the three of you, Hills, the defendant, yourself, stop to pick up any casings that are at the scene, right?
No.
Is that correct?
No, I left the scene.
Right. None of you go. Do any of you pick up any expended
We
casings?
all left the scene, sir.
Did you pick up any expended casings?
No.
Did anybody at the scene that you saw pick up expended casings?
No.
Agree that Relly also was aware that night that there's no way the injuries on his hand could have been caused by getting shot by the defendant because it was prop gun, wasn't real.
I believe that, yes.
When did you first become aware that Relly was asking Mr. Mayers and his management team for money as a result of the incident?
Probably 2022.
Now, you would agree that as soon as you would have heard this, you would have known that that request was bogus because it wasn't a real gun, right?
Can you rephrase that?
As soon as you would have heard that Relly was trying to get money for allegedly being shot at, you would have known that that was a bogus allegation, an untrue allegation, because it was a prop gun and the defendant could have never shot him, right?
Of course, yes.
So, after you found that out, tell me when you went to the police to tell them what you knew.
I didn't go to the police.
Now, you discovered at a later point in time that not only had Relly gone to the police, but that the defendant had been charged in this case, correct?
Yes.
And as soon as you knew that, as soon as you heard it, you knew that those charges were unfair and never happened, correct?
Correct.
Did you go to the police then?
No.
Did you call the prosecutor then?
I didn't even know who the prosecutor was, so no.
So you were unable to figure out who to contact? Is that why you didn't go forward?
For one, I just didn't know. Nobody said the prosecutor wanted to speak to me. Nobody said the LAPD wanted to speak to me.
Listen to my question. I'm not saying whether they wanted to speak with you. This is your brother,
Yeah.
who you're saying is being charged unfairly for a crime he didn't commit. And you have the evidence to prove it didn't happen.
Yes.
My question is, why didn't you come forward to tell the police and prosecutors what you knew?
Well, I don't have a particular reason, but they charged him. I guess it was going to trial. I believe I can tell my truth here. I didn't have to tell the LAPD or anybody else.
Wait, you didn't have a particular reason. Wouldn't a particular reason be that your brother is facing serious charges and you are able to tell the authorities it's not true?
I've never been in a situation where you could just go to, I guess, the law and tell them this will happen and then the person is innocent.
Who's that on the left side of the screen?
A$AP Rocky.
Who's on the right side?
Barty.
Barty's another brother of yours, right?
Yes.
This is dated April 20th, 2022. You know what no jumper is, correct?
I'm aware of what the platform is, but I'm not a supporter of no jumper.
So I'm going to ask you something. When's the first time that you saw this post that says, at A$AP, Barty says that A$AP Relly snitched on A$AP Rocky causing his arrest earlier this morning? When's the first time that you ended up hearing that, seeing that?
Well, this is my first time seeing this post. So I never learned from other A$AP members that he was being called a rat. I I'm not a follower of No Jumper, you know, and Relly is not a musician, so other musicians aren't talking about Relly.
So you're telling me that these other ASAP members who you refer to as you are all brothers, correct?
Yes.
ASAP Bari is a brother, correct?
And to be honest,
Yes or no?
I haven't seen Barbie. I haven't seen it.
I have a question. When I'm asking you a question, instead of looking at me, you look over at the jury. Is there a reason why you're not looking at me when I'm asking you questions and why you're looking directly at the jury?
I'm looking at everybody. I'm giving eye contact with everybody.
If it was a real gun, would you agree that the defendant would have a motive to get rid of it?
Objection, also speculation.
Would you agree, sir, that being like a brother to the defendant, that you yourself would have a motive to get rid of that gun?
No.
Who's Wally Sajimi?
Excuse me?
Wally Sajimi. Who is he?
Well, I believe he works as I guess a liaison for different, I guess like tech companies. I'm not too sure.
He's also known as ASAP Wally, right?
No, he's not.
Isn't he a part of the collective?
He is not a part of ASAP.
Is he a part of AWGE?
I'm not too sure. I feel like he could just be an independent contractor. I'm not sure of his business.
Are you a part of AWGE?
I am a part of ASAP.
Are you a part of AWGE?
No, I'm ASAP.
What's AWGE?
I don't know.
You've never heard of AWGE?
I've heard of it, but I'm not too sure like what it is exactly. Like a creative agency.
What do you know it to be?
I know the person that's involved with it is a creative person, and just to me, it's a creative agency.
Is the defendant involved with AWGE?
I believe so.
Well, when you say you believe so, how do you know? What are you basing it on?
Just from his creative curations.
Just based on, sorry?
Creative curations. So
What
it's
is
a
that?
creative agency.
Would you agree, let me back this up. Are you aware that Mr. Sajimi is someone that regularly speaks or texts, has contact with the defendant?
I'm not too sure what he does.
So you don't know.
No.
How often do you have contact with Mr. Sajimi?
Maybe once every 3 months.
And when's the last time you had contact with him?
Last year he was trying to help me get like something with sneakers. I'm heavy into sneakers. He was trying to get me like a mafia situation.
You said you watched some of the testimony in this case. You previously testified that. Do you recall?
Only like what I've seen on clips on the internet.
Well, so I assume you've seen clips on the internet of Wally Sajimi's testimony, correct?
I only seen his thumbnail.
His thumbnail.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Just a photo of him with his leg crossed, just looking at you.
So you don't know any of his testimony at all?
No.
I want you to assume for a moment that Mr. Sajimi testified that he was mediating the dispute between Relly and the defendant. I want you to assume that he testified that. Did he ever reach out to you, Wally, to talk to you about what happened so he could effectively mediate the situation?
No.
Have you ever spoken to Mr. Sajimi about what happened on November 6th?
No.
Were you aware that he was, quote, mediating the situation with Relly?
I was not aware.
You would agree that Mr. Sajimi is much closer to the defendant than he is to Relly, correct?
Well, possibly.
When you say possibly, you mean yes, correct?
I haven't seen Wally in years, sir, so I'm not too sure like what you're trying to explain to me. I haven't seen Wally.
Have you ever spoken to Mr. Sajimi about Relly's lawsuit or about the criminal charges in this case?
No.
In all of your posts,
Mm-hmm.
have you ever posed with items in your Instagram, whether it be money or physical items, planes, cars, etc., that you didn't actually own?
Unless it was for a music video, no.
Well, music video would be the same thing, correct?
A music video is meant to be art. It's meant to be like a movie.
Okay. So it's your testimony that you believe that when an individual, so as an example, your position would be that if Relly has on his Instagram a bunch of photos of money or of a private plane,
Mhm.
then he is basically saying to the world, that's my private plane and that's my money, and it's like he's testifying in court when he does it.
It's irrelevant.
Relevant?
It's irrelevant.
What rule is
Also speculation.
Rephrase it, please.
Okay, listen. So, I want you to assume for a moment that Relly has had on his Instagram pictures where he's posing with wads of money or private planes. Is it your testimony that it would be your belief that that is basically the same as coming into court and saying under oath, hey, that's my money and that's my plane?
Can you rephrase? Because I don't understand it. Like how it would be the same.
You would agree it's not the same, correct?
I don't think Instagram and court is the same.
Right, because Instagram is about creating an impression, creating a persona, and it's not necessarily about reality. Would you agree?
Well, it's a form of reality because you're doing it and you're showing it to people.
Is there any indication in your statement about specific incidents involving Rocky, the defendant, being threatened or being the target of violence or home invasion?
Yes or no?
Huh?
Yes.
I'm telling him, it's a yes or a no.
Are there specific incidents listed?
It says, for security measures, which he was known to do after being the victim of violence and home invasion.
Yes, does it list what those incidents of violence and home invasion were?
But that's a summary. So I told them.
You told them what the answers were,
So,
correct?
no, I told them what the answer was. No, I'm actually clarifying that I said he was victims of violence, home invasions, and other things before. It says that, it doesn't say specifically because it's a summary.
You were at,
All right. Pretend the gun was real. And that Rocky fired 2 shots at Relly from a real gun. And that's what he's on trial for. Is it true that you would not want him to be convicted? That's what he's trying to say.
True.
Even if it was a real gun.
True, I will want him to be convicted.
You were then asked, have you ever given anything to the police in this case? Did you give your cell phone? Did you give her anything? Remember being asked those questions?
Yeah.
Did they ever ask?
No.
they, Your Honor.
They are the
It's-
police.
They is vague.
I know. The police? Oh. When I said they, did you know who I meant?
Yes.
They, Mr. Luna just asked you if you agreed to an interview when you were asked in front of the judge 2 weeks ago. Remember that? And you
Yeah.
said no?
I remember.
When was that?
It was about 2 weeks ago now. Yeah.
In January of 2025, right?
Yes.
Prior to that, as Detective Flores testified to, no one ever reached out to you, correct? For an interview.
Correct.
Your Honor, that's going to call for speculation.
Sustained.
Did anyone ever reach out to you
Nobody reached out to me.
from law enforcement?
No.
That's going to call for speculation whether they reached out.
Sustained.
Did you ever hear from anyone, from law enforcement or the district attorney's office before 2 weeks ago?
No.
By the way, Willie knew who you were, right?
Yes, that was in front of him, for real.
Knew where you lived, right?
Yes.
You were speaking to the police as you learned, right?
Yes.
Then you were asked, once you learned Rocky was charged with a crime, okay?
Yes.
Did you then think maybe you should reach out to the police at that point? Remember being asked that question?
Yes, I remember that question.
He was already charged with the crime at that point, correct?
And, yeah, 2022, yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. So did you think they made up their mind already?
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Well, why did you reach out to them after he was already charged with the crime?
Because I felt as though they already arrested him and charged him without speaking to me. I felt like, why should I speak to them? They already got their mind made up.
Now, both things. Regarding this interview that we had in August last year. And you were shown this summary. Did you write that summary, by the way?
No,
Did you ever see that summary before it was put in your face?
no.
Okay. Did you mention the prop gun and Rocky having that prop gun in August of 2024 when we interviewed you for the first time?
Yes,
And who brought it up? We did or you?
I worked.
You asked questions on cross about Bill's bloody lip and being beaten by Relly. Remember those questions?
Yes.
When you testified on direct, and I think on cross as well, you said that he had a bloody lip, correct?
Yes.
You didn't say that his face was broken, did you?
I didn't say
You didn't say he was bruised all over, did you?
no.
Does the video that they showed you of him wearing the American flag on his head on November 7th at ComplexCon, does that change the video that you saw here on November 6th?
From the incident?
Yeah.
No,
Does it change what you saw with your own eyes on November 6th, 2021?
no.
You asked questions about how you knew on cross-examination, how you knew it was the same prop gun on November 6th than it was at the previous instances. How did you know?
Only because they had like unique modifications. I believe a belt clip and a clear replica magazine.
Clear replica magazines,
Yes.
right? And when you say the belt clip's not something that's on the pants, it's on the prop.
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Okay, explain what the belt clip is.
It's an accessory to the prop, so it's not like a holster. I believe it was equipped to the prop.
Okay. And how else did you know it was the same? You asked questions challenging whether you knew it was the same prop gun on November 6, 2021 that you had seen in previous instances.
Mhm.
How else did you know?
So, for one, seeing it with my eyes, and two, speaking to my bro about it, speaking to Rocky about it. Really hit Stills again, but he also tried to swing at me. But I guess he didn't hit me, so he hit Stills again. So then right here, I
Stop.
pushed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I pushed Rocky away to tell him like, yo, bro, fuck up out of here, let's go. So I'm looking that way just to make sure like Rocky out of here, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if anybody gonna come run behind me and try to run towards him. So I'm just looking just to make sure he get up out of here. So then I turn around to see like what's good with Ills, you feel me? And then I see, I think really hit Ills one more time and then leave.
Okay. You asked on cross-examination if the knuckles in that picture are consistent with a punch or not. Remember being asked those questions?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if someone's punching someone on the floor and they scrape their hand or knuckles on the floor, is that consistent with that injury?
Yes.
Objection, that, no. On direct examination, you testified, on cross, excuse me, you testified you had never had any conversation with the defendant. I asked you about either him possessing prop guns or about what happened in this incident, correct? Who you testified to? Do you recall that?
Yes.
A moment ago, with Mr. Tacopina, when you were asked, how do you know it was the same prop gun, you said, Rocky told me that. Do you recall that?
Yes.
If you've never had a conversation with him about prop guns, and you've never had a conversation with him about this incident, then how is it that he could have told you that information in a conversation that never happened?
Judge, I reject this.
His
Misleading.
argument is sustained. Well,
It was also misleading. He was talking about before the incident.
That's a speaking.
stop it! Read the question.
And it is wrong.
I'll re-ask you that. You might be
Go ahead.
Can you explain
Yes.
how it is if you've never had a conversation with the defendant about prop guns or about the prop gun in this incident, how it is that he could have told you that it was the same prop gun in this incident that you saw in New York?
Judge, objection, misstates the witness's testimony. That's what I'm trying to say.
Honestly, I said that we spoke in Harlem about the prop gun. When I said I seen it secured under his white tee, I said that in my testimony.
You just testified a moment ago with Mr. Tacopina. You just said, he asked you, how did you know it was the same prop gun? On the night, let me finish,
Okay.
the night of the incident, from the one you see before, you said, Rocky told me. Do you recall that testimony?
I said that,
Do you recall that testimony?
Yes or no?
yes,
And I asked you if you'd ever spoken to Rocky about prop guns, and you said no. Do you recall that testimony?
Objection.
Do you recall that testimony?
yes,
Would you agree, Mr. Phillips, that both of those statements cannot be true?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
Can you explain how it is, if you have not spoken to the defendant about prop guns at all, how it is that you had this conversation with him about prop guns?
Objection, argument states the testimony.
well, like I said, I was at the video shoot when I first seen the prop guns. So we didn't have to have a conversation then about the prop gun. We knew it was a part of the set, you know. And the second time, I said that I seen him with the prop gun in New York. I didn't say we had a full-blown conversation about it, but I did say I seen it.
You have a question back. I have one question after this, Your Honor.
And you further testify that he fires the first shot as a warning, pointing the gun down, even though it's a prop gun that can't fire anything that everybody knows is a prop gun. Is that correct?
Yes,
You testified that's what happened, correct?
yes.
Let me ask you something. As you sit here, Mr. Phillips, does what you're saying sound reasonable?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
Nine first.
That you're notified to return, you must return, so you are not excused. You understand?
So I stay in California?
Well, you don't have to stay in California, but if you're notified to return, you must be here the very next day. All right, but for now, you can go.
Thank you for your
All right, we'll be in recess till 1:30.
All